Hey everybody, Dave Neal here, stand-up comedian, host of the SAP podcast. As you guys know, I make reaction videos to some of the political events that are happening in our world. We just watched the Democratic debate between Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. I wasn't going to do a reaction video for this debate. I wasn't, because there isn't too much funny to talk about. There aren't many jokes being landed. It's a very serious time in our world, if you haven't heard. But then I was thinking more about it, and there's a very specific style of humor that's being used within the debate, and I wanted to share it with you. It's called Two Peas in a Pod. Basically, Joe and Bernie are playing similar characters. Cantankerous Caucasian old men, right? That's who they're playing. And this is very different than the other style of comedy out there called straight man, which would be like David Spade in the movie Tommy Boy. He is the straight man to Chris Farley's Tommy Boy. Okay, you've got one goofy character, one straight man. A couple examples of two peas in a pod would be Statler and Waldorf, right? The old hecklers from the Muppets, right? They're the perfect example of two peas in a pod. Some other examples would be wealthy entrepreneur club owners, Steve and Doug Butabi from Night at the Roxbury, of course. What is love, right? And then, what is it anyway? And then my third example would be Harry and Lloyd, which might be the greatest comedy ever made, the movie Dumb and Dumber. Leave a comment below. Let me know of your favorite examples of two peas in a pod. Steve and Doug Butabi, Harry and Lloyd, Statler and Waldorf, and now Joe and Bernie Sanders, okay? If you can't appreciate these guys in this moment, this might be the last time we ever see these two spar off in a debate because Joe is winning the delegates by a sizable amount. Bernie's still fighting, but the media's got Joe's back. Humor, like jazz, exists between the written notes. So let's just take a minute and pause from all the chaos that's out in the world, and let's just enjoy Joe and Bernie, the comedic legends that they are, as they battle it out for one last round in some commentary I'm calling a socially distant debate.
What do you say to the American people who are confronting this new reality?
First of all, my heart goes out to those who have already lost someone or those who are suffering from the virus. And
Joe, that's you. You're coughing. My heart goes out to you, Joe.
Do we have the courage to take on the executives at the prescription drug industry, some of whom are funding his campaign?
Look, this is a national crisis. I don't want to get this into a back and forth in terms of our politics here.
Look, this is a back and forth discussion. We don't need all this crazy talk here. Come on, we're in a crisis, for God's sake. A debate is a formal discussion on a particular topic in a public meeting or legislative assembly in which opposing arguments are put forward, aka a back and forth in terms of politics. But it's a national emergency out there, so let's just skip all the semantics and vote for Joe.
So on a personal level, what we're doing is, I'm not shaking hands. Joe and I did not shake hands. And I am very careful about the people I am interacting with. I'm using a lot of soap and hand sanitizers to make sure that I do not get the infection. And
are they not getting a little too personal here? Joe and I are not shaking hands. We barely look at each other. Me and Mrs. Sanders don't even go in the same room. Like, why do they feel the need to take up 1 minute of our lives telling us about their bathing techniques?
Thank God right now I do not have any symptoms, and I feel very grateful for that.
Vice President Biden, you're 77. What are you doing to protect yourself?
Well, fortunately, I don't have any of the underlying conditions you talked about.
Joe, don't rub it in that you don't have coronavirus. You're barely surviving with all of your abilities. He's like, I don't have any of the things you're talking about, but I tell you what, my doctors.
Number two, thank God for the time being, anything can happen, as my mother would say, knock on wood, that I'm in good health. Number three, I'm taking all the precautions anyone would take, whether they're 30 years old or 60 years old or 80 years old. And that is, I want to make sure that I do not shake hands any longer. I do not engage. We did the same thing. Our staff is all working from home. We are not doing rallies any longer. We're doing virtual rallies.
He's trying to one-up Bernie. He's like, oh, you don't do rallies anymore? We never did rallies. You don't have large engagements of people in the youth vote? We never had that.
Virtual town hall meetings. We're in a situation where now I do not, as I said, when we encounter people, we're not going into crowds. And so I'm taking all the precautions everyone else should be taking. I wash my hands God knows how many times a day with hot water and soap.
Boy, he is such a politician. Only Joe Biden can make washing your hands sound patriotic. Just like a bald eagle bathing its youth, like a red-blooded American male, I wash my hands with warm water and soap like all those affluent middle-class voters out there in the suburbs I'm trying to attract. Like he just works it right in.
Carry with me, as a matter of fact, I have in my bag outside here a hand sanitizer. I don't know how many times a day I use that. I make sure I don't touch my face and so on. So I'm taking all the precautions we're told for everybody else to take.
Cool.
Pass the Biden health care plan, which takes
Look at Bernie
Obamacare,
laughing.
restores
The
all
most
the...
insulting thing you can do is laugh when someone else is serious. You ever get in an argument with your wife or girlfriend or boyfriend and they start laughing at you? Oh, there's nothing more infuriating.
It's made to it. Subsidize it further. Provides...
He goes, oh, the Biden healthcare plan. That sounds fun.
There's no hidden bills. Make sure that we invest, what I want to invest $50 billion in dealing with underlying diseases that are of great consequence, diabetes, Alzheimer's, and cancer.
Bernie looks like the guy who's playing chess when he knows he's about to hit the checkmate. That's what Bernie looks like. He's like, oh, okay. The Biden healthcare plan. All right. Just wait for my turn.
And I still won.
Senator Sanders?
It's good that you had an idea 30 years ago. I don't want to join you. Why don't you join me?
I don't want to join you. I don't want to do that. Why don't you do my thing? I'm not doing your thing. You do my thing. But on the count of three, let's do each other's thing. 1, 2, 3. Well, you didn't do my thing.
Why don't you get rid of the super PAC that you have right now, which is running very ugly negative ads about me, by the way. Don't laugh, Joe. That's just the truth. And they got 2 other super PACs running ads against us. Why don't you just say right now, go on television and say, hey, you know what?
You get rid of the 9 super PACs you have?
I don't have 9 super. I don't have any
You have
super
9.
PACs.
You want me to list them?
No, yeah, you go ahead and list them.
Okay, come on. Give me a break.
Oh, you want me to prove my point without evidence? Come on, give me a break. What are we doing over here? I'm not trying to have a debate with you. It's a time of crisis. This is fun. These are 2 peas in a... This is Waldorf and Statler. This is one of those comedy movies, the more you watch it, the funnier it gets. When I first watched it, I was like, oh, this isn't too funny. But when you really get into the nitty-gritty, when you really start looking between the dialogue there, this is gold. Regardless of the outcome, the coronavirus, the world we live in, of the failing economy, we can all sit back and have a little laugh. Hey, laughter's good medicine for the soul. It's closer to a vaccine than anyone else is making.
Have you been on the floor of the Senate? You were in the Senate for a few years.
Yeah.
Time and time again, talking about the necessity, with pride, about cutting Social Security, cutting Medicare, cutting veterans programs.
No.
You never said that.
No.
You never said that? This feels like a guy and a girl that are in a relationship where the girl caught the guy cheating and she's trying to get him to admit it before she provides the evidence. You weren't looking at Karen's Instagram story from her trip to Cabo? Admit it, Joe. You did it. Just tell the truth here, Joe. We all make mistakes. Did you or did you not comment on my yoga instructor's Instagram photo with the words, Namaste in shape?
All right. America, go to the website right now. Go to the YouTube right
Here
now.
are the screen grabs to prove it.
Time after time, you were not a fan of both.
You deleted the comment, but I kept the screen grabs.
Not a fan of both.
You were not a fan of the balanced budget amendment, which called for cuts in Social Security? Come on, Joe, you won't.
Look, here's the deal.
You're an honest guy. Why don't you just tell the truth here? We all make mistakes.
I am telling the truth.
I am telling the truth.
Joe, let me repeat it again. I want you just to be straight with the American people. I am saying
Ruthless.
that you have been on the floor of the Senate time and time again talking about the need to cut Social Security, Medicare, and veterans programs. Is that true or is that not true?
No, it's not true.
That is not true?
That is not true. What is true is, in terms of the negotiations that are taking place, how to deal with the deficit, everything was on the table. I did not support any of those cuts in Social Security or in veterans benefits.
Whoa.
Like a good husband, he never admits to any wrongdoing. You got to stay firm and just try to battle your way out of it.
Everything was on the table. All right, you're right. You just said it, including, in your judgment, cuts to Social Security and veterans.
In order to get the kinds of changes we need on other things related.
Joe, then
but
you
didn't. But we did not cut it.
I know, because people like me helped stop that. But Joe,
Karen, I didn't follow her on Instagram. I know, because people like me deactivated your account.
you just contradict.
Oh,
Joe.
come on.
You do disagree on so many issues.
He's making it hard for me right now. I was trying to give him credit for some things. He won't even take the credit for things he wants.
I I love them. Oh, I'm going to miss this moment. I'm going to cherish this forever. They're great. They're in marriage therapy. That's all it is marriage therapy. I'm trying to speak his love language, which is acts of service and receiving gifts. Like every other socialist, they just want a handout, but that's his love language. Mine is affirmations. My love language is affirmations. So if you guys could leave a comment below, that would be nice. Thank you.
The energy and incitement that's taken place so far has been, for me, 70% turnout increase in Virginia. I can go down the list. They're coming out for me, and I didn't even have the money to compete with this man in those states.
You didn't have the money to compete with him because they didn't like you. This is what Joe needs to realize. I might get some flack for saying this, but Joe Biden is the ugly girl at the club that the guy goes home with because he doesn't think he can attract the hot girl. Bernie Sanders is the hot girl that America doesn't deserve. Okay? Joe Biden is the safe bet. He's going to do something freaky in the bed because he's just happy to be loved.
I virtually had no money. The press kept saying Biden has no money.
You had no money, which means no one wanted to buy you drinks at the bar. Everyone wanted to buy Bernie drinks at the bar because it was the attractive candidate, and somehow the corporate media convinced all of us that we don't deserve Bernie, that we can't elect Bernie. So the joke's on us. What do we get? Joe Biden. Is it good? Meh. It'll do. It'll do, pig, you know? Look, times are weird out there. I'm quarantined inside. It's raining. It's 52 degrees in Los Angeles. I just got laid off from my job. It's a tough time out there for all of us. I'm just trying to show some levity and lightheartedness in these videos. If you guys can do something in return from me, if you could please like this video, hit the subscribe button, and share it with your friends, that would be amazing. Leave a comment below. All of this helps the algorithm, and it helps more people find the content, and it'll help me receive some ad revenue, which, by the way, is my only source of income at this moment. I've got the podcast, a private Patreon, link in the description if you want to donate to Venmo, all those things. But if for nothing else, a free thing you can do is share this with your friends. Major shout out to the Sanders for President subreddit. You guys have been amazing, so supportive. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And again, through these dark times, we'll get through this. Let's just share some laughter with each other. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye now.